Time to welcome back to the studio for the first time in a good minute, Veneeth Iyengar. Veneeth, what's happening, man?
A lot of things.
Yeah?
A lot of things.
So, okay, as a kind of a refresher here, you are the point man, the czar, if you will, of broadband in the state of Louisiana. Have you fully adopted the title of czar yet?
No, but people call me the internet man.
Internet man?
Yeah.
I'm down with that. That'll work for sure.
So,
Microphone up.
They're like, how do you pronounce your name? Just call me the internet man.
Internet man.
Yeah.
That's what the I stands for.
That's right.
It's not Iyengar, it's internet.
That's right.
So you were tasked with getting broadband throughout the state.
Yeah.
And we're actually, are we ahead of schedule right now?
So we're ahead of schedule. So just to recap for everybody, 18 months ago, March 29th of 2021, so maybe 20 months ago, started this new job, right?
Mm-hmm.
As executive director for Connect LA, which is a state broadband office.
Mm-hmm.
So functionally speaking, we're in the Division of Administration. I report to Jay Darden, Commissioner Darden.
Mm-hmm.
So what have we done in the last 20 months? So we built up a really good team. In fact, one of my team members was sort of plucked by Governor Asa Hutchinson to lead their broadband efforts in Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
Because we've been moving so quickly. So that's really a kudos to him and sort of the culture we've built in our office. So built up an office, scaled it up, ran a grant program to dispense of $176 million to provide high-speed internet to 88,000 locations in the state. 88,000 location is defined as an actual 123 Main Street, an actual address.
Right.
So, and then yesterday we received nearly 70 grant agreements. And so now the construction begins for a lot of these projects, and it's going to be mostly, if not all, fiber optics.
So we're all, good, because I want to get into that as well.
Yeah.
Where we're at now is basically planning is complete.
Planning is complete, grant agreements, and now the execution risk falls from our shoulder to a certain degree now to the companies that we have awarded all these grant dollars in local municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they're going to have to execute in whatever parish that they're going to operate in and build and to construct and maintain and operate these networks. And so they've got a 2-year shot clock as of this morning.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Right on it. When it comes to all the different planning and whatnot, what were a few of the bigger challenges along the way? Was it geographical? Was it remoteness? Was it geological?
So, Louisiana, so I was in Salt Lake City last week.
Mm-hmm.
That's a geological problem, right? Utah, because they're just mountains and it's a large state. Colorado. Those states are going to present bigger challenges because of topography, right?
Okay.
The challenge...
You say that like swamps are a walk in the park.
No, but so I was going to say the caveat in Louisiana is the soil is really soft.
Yeah.
So that's going to present a slightly... I'd rather deal with that challenge than trying to bore through and figure out how to get around Pikes Peak.
Fair enough.
Right?
Okay,
So in Louisiana, where we are today is, look, most if not all of the challenges when it comes to high-speed broadband naturally centered around rural areas, and that's where we're focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
However, in Louisiana, 1.5 million people don't have access to the internet.
Right.
So that's 1 out of every 3 folks in the state. So if we're trying to solve the problem of this digital divide, it's an access issue, an affordability issue, it's a digital skills issue, and it's a device issue. So that's the enormity of the problem that we're trying to solve for.
And when did we cross the threshold of access to the internet going from a luxury to a need?
Pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, and it's what's really interesting is, look, if you talk to the folks in rural areas, broadband is number one, number 2, number 3 issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's when the pandemic started to equivocate the challenges that people in urban areas can now relate to the folks in rural areas. Folks in rural areas can now relate to the folks in urban areas when it comes to affordability and access and a variety of other digital challenges that people started to realize that this was an A+ priority across the state. And so that's the approach we've been taking.
Yeah, it would make it a great equalizer because regardless of how centered or city-centered you are, if you're quarantined, we're all on individual islands.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
and so, look, all the companies that we're in co-ops that are the eligible applicants that we're providing all these dollars to are going to, again, build fiber to not just off the main street, but to the location, to the address. So 5,000 more small businesses in Louisiana because of this first $176 million will benefit from high-speed VAR grants.
Which is pretty phenomenal. Hey, before we get down to the difference between fiber and satellite, which we've talked about in the past, one of the things I was curious about on the front end of this journey of yours was, so you've got physical challenges, geographical challenges, But there's also people challenges as well. Have you run into any of the not in my town, I don't need this here,
Yeah. So
5G is going to radiate my kids sort of thing?
so that's look. My job is to ensure that every single household that's unserved and underserved in the community anchor institutions,
Mm-hmm.
like public safety, hospitals, libraries, all have access to high-speed, affordable, reliable, not episodic, but reliable internet. And so the combination of our dollars plus the infrastructure dollars plus other pots of money is going to solve that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not my job to force and compel someone to actually pay for something if he or she feels that they don't need it. But what we're going to make it is available and accessible. Now, on the flip side, with wireless coverage, there are large swaths of Louisiana where there's zero cell connectivity.
Yeah.
I mean, I drive from Baton Rouge to New Orleans pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
You get near Laplace and, cell connectivity is pretty poor. You drive I-49.
Oh, when you pass Laplace and hop on the Bonacare Spillway, and it's understandable. You're over water,
but there's a wireless infrastructure shortage in Louisiana as well.
Okay.
That impacted public safety, that impacts farmers, and that was a big issue post Ida. So we're looking to see where those gaps are, because I think the ultimate goal with all of our efforts is ubiquity when it comes to high-speed internet, which is regardless of where you are, whether you're at home or whether you're on the road, you'll have access to it. Now, with regards to 5G and small cells, there's enough research out there that says that doesn't impact someone's health ability. But look, the internet service providers, the wireless providers, the research will be the ones to ultimately convince someone if it makes sense to pay for it or not.
Did you run into any of the, forgive the phrasing here, did you run into any of the Ted Kaczynskis of the world? I mean, the ones who just want to be detached. Off the grid.
Not yet. Look, but I'll tell you on the flip side, there are going to be unintended consequences of getting everyone internet.
Which would be what?
Mental health, increased sort of people going down rabbit holes, increased isolationism.
Yeah.
Look, scams.
More access to InfoWars is what you're saying. That's
the challenge is going to be in for older adults, right? So the older adults are going to be scammed.
Yeah,
they're going to be cyber attacked. I mean,
potentially.
So we're going to have to
protect your rear here. Potentially.
So the thing is, we're going to have to be proactive in working with folks.
No, absolutely.
And messaging.
There will be an education component of this down the road for sure.
Has to be.
Yeah. Okay. So from planning to implementation, you said most of this is going to be fiber. One of the things we had talked about early on is whether or not, because of geography, because if you live in a swamp or whatever, would a satellite be a better option? What kind of percentages are we looking at there?
That's a great question. I think you could cover a significant majority of Louisianians with fiber speeds going to their premise or small business. The challenge is going to be getting to that fishing camp that's used twice a year that's on Toledo Bend.
Right.
Does it make sense to put invest $5 million of taxpayer dollars to get to that person fiber to that one location? Probably not. And that's where fixed wireless, or the stuff that you see on top of water towers, or satellite, makes probably better economic sense to get those folks access to high speed.
It's also important to remember a camp is not a residence. Taking care of where we live, not where we play.
Correct. And so in that case, I would say a significant majority will have access to largely fiber. Now, we are we're technology neutral in how we invest these dollars, but behaviorally, the companies are stepping up and investing in fiber connectivity.
Y'all are also getting a little bit of love. You're getting a little good press. Saw a story on Axios not long ago where I believe you were actually quoted in the story. What's that like, having other states actually turn to? I mean, you just said one of your top guys went to Arkansas. Good luck with the Ozarks. One of you guys went out to Arkansas, being recruited and tapped into. Are we positioning ourselves as a leader in this regard?
So, look, I would say so. We've been fortunate to be covered, and I was at the press club yesterday. We've got great relationships with all the journalists. So this is very much a human interest story, especially at a parish level. So, look, we've been fortunate to be covered by Axios, Politico, Wall Street Journal, based on the work we do. And I think everything we do, Brian, is undergirded by stakeholder engagement. So we spend a lot of time on the road, meeting with folks, meeting with all sorts of different constituencies. And I think people recognize the hard work and the alignment that we're having both from the governor's office, legislature, local stakeholders to solve this problem.
Okay, so we got to talk about that. We've only got 2 minutes left, and
Yep.
it's probably going to be the toughest question I'm going to throw at you. You said you're looking at a 2-year shot clock that starts today.
Yeah.
1 year from now, we're going to vote on a new governor. Will a change in administration affect in any way your mission and what you need to do?
Brian, I can only deal in actualities.
Okay.
Right? So I'm taking this one day at a time. Whoever is the next governor will decide how they want to treat broadband, and in terms of execution, in terms of office. So I will leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Wait, because I mean, every facet
it's
of our government is going to come up within the next year.
Yeah, and look, it's a fair point, and so we've got more than enough work to do over the next 365 plus days, and at that point, we'll let the next governor decide what they want to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, as of right now, all you can do is build a resume of success to give yourself the better pitch when the new guy or gal takes over a little over a year from now. In the meanwhile, what's the rest of the year look like? Is it just moving forward?
We're gonna the grant agreements are executed yesterday. We're gonna decompress a little bit. Hard to do meetings around this time of the year. So we'll probably reflect and understand what we need to do to start hitting the ground running next year.
He is Veneeth Iyengar, the internet guy, as he will now be deemed. We appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Always love having you on board. And we will talk very soon after the holidays to kind of set the table for 2023.